Hello, everyone. Hi, Carla. I see you in the chat today. How are you this evening? Hopefully, everybody's doing well, and hopefully, again, the stream started successfully, and you can hear me. How is everybody doing this evening? We're back to Mondays. Awesome. Hopefully you can all hear me okay. It looks like the mic is picking up the audio. So, hi Patrice, great to see you too. Awesome. So, I'm excited. We're going to do something different today. What do you all think about that? We'll try something different. This may be the least messy stream of all so far, but we'll see how it goes. And quick announcements this week. I'm working on a new video that'll be on the YouTube channel here soon, hopefully. As always, it means the world if you would like and subscribe. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. That's fantastic. There is a donation link or a tip link in the chat if you find this fun and would like to leave a tip. That would be fantastic. Otherwise, it's just super awesome to see everybody again. I really appreciate you all coming in again. Hi, Natalia, and Leanne. How are you all doing? Great to see everybody. All right, I see Carla saying love to try something new. Awesome. So I am still gonna we're gonna do something different today, but I am still gonna get everybody's feedback as we work on the design, and yeah, we'll take it from there. So hopefully I've built a little suspense. Part of this comes from, so just a quick story. I was talking to a calligrapher friend recently, and they told me, and you're not gonna believe this, but they told me that you don't have to write calligraphy in circles. I mean, I thought that's just preposterous. Calligraphy can't be done in a straight line, can it? Or any other shape or pattern. So I'm not sure. I'm really not sure that I believe it yet. But maybe we'll try something different today and see what happens. But again, I'm not sure I'm convinced. So yeah, we'll see how things shape up today. But I will show I did some work on the work or on the piece of art from last week, and we'll see how it goes. See Carla. Oh, hi Dania Vega, and wonderful to see you here. I'm probably butchering your name. I'm terribly sorry. But wonderful to have you here. Thank you so much for coming. And Carla's asking, are there different ways to leave a tip? For now, that's the main way that's in the link that I found on the channel. I certainly appreciate the sentiment if it doesn't work out, because it is via PayPal. But I do appreciate it. Certainly. I just appreciate you. I just appreciate having you here. So thank you very much for asking. Even. So yeah, I see some folks laughing at my little attempt at humor and sarcasm. But I mean, we'll see. I don't know. I don't know if you can write calligraphy if it's not in a circle. But I mean, I've heard it can be done. We'll see what happens. Oh man, I killed myself here just sitting by myself. So here in this room anyway. So without further ado, we'll transition. I'll pop on the other light, and I will jump over to the overhead view, and we'll show off the art from last week and see what you guys think. Okay, so it's not on the screen yet. It's right next to me. So I did kind of carry on with the Friday the 13th theme. So you guys really inspired last week. So here is the finished version. I went with all these cool little Friday the 13th vertical little like ghoulish streaks and stuff like that, and gave it sort of a sorry, I'm laughing. I see Carla saying there's no such thing as a straight line. That's probably true. If you go down to the texture molecular level, it's never straight, right? There's always bumps and everything. So I like it. But yeah, this is how last week's ended up. So for anyone that remembers that was here last week, we went with a color that I'd never tried, and it wasn't super, it didn't flow super well through the pen. But it did, this was the result. Just as a show, I'd never tried the ink last week. So so I didn't know how it was gonna work out. It didn't flow super well through the pen, but sometimes if you just stick with something, you never know what's gonna result. So this is the result of just playing around and trying different ideas and going very Halloweenish through with it. I actually just finished this literally. I'm just gonna turn off one light so you can maybe see some of the metallic-y goodness on this one when I hold it up to the light. But yeah, I did all sorts of stuff. Maybe I can even zoom in if you're curious to see more of the details, but you see some of the cool metallic nature of that ink. So just a testament to say, you know, even if something's not going your way, you can still give it a try and play around with it and maybe try some new ideas and see what happens. I see Carla saying, yeah, very Halloween. And Patrice, oh my goodness, it came out amazing. Oh, thank you so much. And Natalia, the cobwebs and the blood, yeah. I thought it would go super Halloween. So let's see if we can do even a couple of, like, zoom in. You can see a little bit more of the details. And hopefully should be able to brighten the screen a bit too. So if you can see there, you can see some of the details here. Where I threw in some cobwebs for fun. So yeah, you never know what you'll come up with when when we start one of these streams, right? Zoom all the way back out. It's gonna be really bright now. All right. So what do you guys think? I would love to hear. Oh, thank you so much, Patrice. Thank you, Natalia. Yeah, I see. So Natalia's asking, how did I come up with that? It was literally inspired by the comment last week. I think Ted may have been the first to mention that we were streaming a day before Friday the 13th. So that's what inspired this idea. I was literally coming in with a very different, like I was gonna do just a circular design and maybe see where the colors took us or try something else, but the Friday the 13th idea was a really cool one and just kind of ran with it. So if I remember right, something came up last week where, yeah, I think when we were working with the ink, we were saying it kind of looks like cobwebs because the ink wasn't flowing super smoothly, and that's where the idea for the cobwebs came in. And then while I actually was working on it a little bit today, or was finishing it today, and then that's when I got the idea for maybe like, ooh, the like dripping blood look and maybe some of the fiery stuff and keeping the outer edges ghostly. So yeah, some fun stuff today from last week. So thank you to all of you for your super cool ideas. You all are fantastic artists. We're an awesome group of calligraphy friends here. So yeah, so it's sneaky over here to the side, but this is what I thought we might play with today, is do a little bit of iPad Procreate stuff. So thank you so much, Natalia. I really appreciate it. And DN, great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining. The quote from last week was, I have to look at it to remember. So the quote from last week starts over here, and it's you're halfway there. Oh, there we go. Believe you can, and you're halfway there. So it actually starts here. So believe you can, and you're halfway there. So it was a positive quote to go with this one. So we ended up doing a positive quote with a very Halloween-y look. So anyway, so here is my Procreate, and a couple of comments that anybody who, actually I would be really curious to hear, have all of you tried Procreate here in the chat today? I'd be very curious. I won't worry about doing a poll just because that takes a little bit more time, but I'd be very interested to hear if anybody here has already tried Procreate or if all of you have. So I thought today I might work through a new version of, or like a different colored version of something, of one of the flourished capital or flourished majuscule letters that I did before. So this one, just to kind of show you some of the like the process behind how to create it. And then we can walk through that, but I'm gonna get your help on coming up with maybe some color ideas, and we can decide whether to use which brush set. Do we do marble style brushes or bewitched brushes, and I can show a little bit of the difference between those. So I see MP Marlowe saying you have used Procreate, and Leanne saying you've used Procreate as well, and Carla saying no, I have no idea how. You'd have a Galaxy tab. I don't know. I'm gonna get started working, and then I'll get your suggestions. So let's go. We'll go ahead and do a screen size canvas today. So I don't think, or I'm fairly certain that Procreate is not available on the iPad. Or I'm sorry, on the Samsung Galaxy tab. It's only on iPads, unfortunately. But the positive news there is that it's compatible with a wide variety. It doesn't have to be the most expensive one. So if you are interested, the app is compatible with a wide variety of iPads. You don't need the $2,000 version or anything like that. I think the ones that are even in the $300 range would still work. Okay, so I'm gonna start. The first thing I'd love to hear is whether we do bewitched brushes or whether we do marble brushes. So those are a couple of examples from a set that I released. So I'll show you what the bewitched brushes look like. So we'll go extra wide, and we're in white. So these are the bewitched brushes. They give that kind of like ghostly look to the lines. And then if I pick one of the marble brushes, these are from the marble set, 1 or 2. So here's number 2. This is the pressure sensitive one. Go 30 degrees. So this is, let me make it bigger. This is what the marble brushes look like. So let me know in the chat. I can zoom in a little bit. So the marble brushes have this really, really fun texture too, where the bewitched ones look kind of like a magic spell, or like the brush has a mind of its own. Okay, so I saw one bewitched in the chat. Okay, either is good. Dabbled in Procreate but couldn't figure out how to do broad edge calligraphy. From Barbara. Yeah, okay, I'm seeing mostly bewitched. Let's do the bewitched one then. So a quick tip for everybody, by default, it doesn't really come with any brushes that would work for broad edge calligraphy. And that's why I created the few sets that I've released so far, so that you can do broad edge calligraphy with Procreate. Just because by default, again, it doesn't have any brushes that would work with that. So I created a set, or a few sets, and each one of them has angles of 30, 45, 60, and 90 degrees to work with. And as we work, that might become obvious why, but I did some research, and those seem to be the most popular angles for writing broad edge calligraphy, were those angles, 30, 45, and 60 were some of the most popular ones. So let's see. Okay, so next I need some colors. So I'll start with making the tea this week, but what colors should we use? Here's a palette down here if anybody wants to pick from here. We can stick with the Halloween theme and go, I don't know, what's Halloween? Orange? And some other color that goes with orange? Or I could replicate the blue and orange one. We could do a red. Let me know what you think. And in the meantime, I am going to I'm going to fill in a grid, which is usually my first step. Okay, so here, let's do just a large grid. That'll work. So I realize you can actually use a grid. Procreate has a grid option within the settings up here, but I always just got used to drawing my own grid, so that's kind of what I do most of the time to start these. Then I'll just make them lower opacity. I'll keep it a little higher so you can see it today. All right, so let's see. Oh, orange and yellow. There is a cool combination. I see Carla asking, are there any other apps that you could try, that I could try on my tablet? Adobe, I believe, has apps that you can use on an Android tablet. I'm not an Android expert, because I don't use them, or I don't have those tablets myself. So if anybody in the chat knows, that would be fantastic if you're, you know, and are able to share. But yeah, those would be the ones that I would be aware of. Adobe, maybe Affinity. I don't know if Affinity, like Affinity Designer. There are a couple of apps made by the company called Affinity, and they're very similar to Photoshop and Illustrator, if you're familiar with those. Okay. And if I remember any others, I'm sure there are some other apps. I would check the Google Play Store for any drawing apps, because I think you might find something there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. And again, if I remember anything, I will let you know. So let's see, how wide is that brush? Well, I'm not drawing with a grid brush. Let me go back to the Bewitched ones. And let's see, should we do, scroll nib? I see Natalia saying sketchbook. That's probably another great one, I would imagine, too. So I can use a scroll nib, or I can do it with a solid. Let me see, maybe I'll do the left split scroll nib this time, just for giggles. So okay, so we'll start off. I'm gonna be drawing that T, and so far I'm using orange and yellow because I saw that suggestion in here. So we'll make the T itself orange, and then I'll make some of the flourishes yellow. What do you think of that? So I'll start with, let's draw a little line going this way. And the handy part about Procreate is you can undo. It's way easier to undo with Procreate than it is with a pen. So just a 2-finger tap does an undo, and then you can start over with whatever you're doing. So I'm just kind of showing how that's possible. So let's see. Let's start with, let's draw that first line coming down. Maybe that's too steep, and maybe my brush is a little big, so I'm gonna shrink the brush a little bit. Yeah, let's go with that. Maybe a little bit bigger. So I thought it would be fun to do this today too, just to show that most of the time doing these drawings is like, it's a bit of a work in progress. You play, you do something, you undo it, and then once you've got something that you're happy with, then you can keep it and move on. So I'm just gonna, I've undone several of these, but I'll just stick with this one. And thank you, Patrice, for sharing that too. I see Patrice saying there's a free drawing app that she heard about last week, Krita. So that might be a great one too. Okay, actually, maybe I'll go a teeny bit bigger, 85% or something around there. Okay, so I've done this over a few times now. So we'll draw that first line and just end it up there. And then I usually work on a bunch of different layers just so that if I need to move things around, I have that flexibility. So I'll draw just a second curve like that. And then again, 2-finger tap. If you're not happy with it, and then you can redo it. Maybe we make that one cool and sweepy like that. And as I was just mentioning, the reason for the multiple layers is, let's say I decide I want to move that first one, I can just grab that top layer and then move it up here. So Procreate is a little bit more flexible than working with pen and paper, right? When you're working with pen and paper, once you've drawn your lines, you're kind of committed. Okay, and then I can even resize the canvas. It looks like I may want to make this a little bit bigger to give myself some extra space to play around. Let's just make it a bit bigger. Okay, now I have a little bit more room to work. And I'm on another layer. What do you guys think of this orange color? So there we go. Now we've got third stroke. Maybe I went too long with it at the bottom. So we'll do that. Maybe a shorter one. Okay, and you can kind of see the skeleton for this T starting to show. Sometimes you undo by accident, and then you can redo, but I just do another line. There we go. Let's make it look like that. All right. Now to draw the other couple of accent lines, I'm gonna come in here, and I'm gonna add a couple of these little accent flourish lines inside here. So I'll start one out, come like that. Maybe I'll even give it a slightly deeper angle like this. And again, the beauty of this is that you can really just kind of play around with the shapes, because you can keep undoing and redoing until you're happy with it. So I could even say, oh, those are too close, or they look fine. I feel like maybe they're too close, but I could still just select both of the layers and then just scooch them up, because we're using Procreate. And we're in the digital world. So with that, there's kind of the basic framework drawn out already. So from here, it's really just a matter of maybe adjusting the lines if I wasn't happy with any of them, or just adding in a bunch of details. So everyone liking the orange so far? Let's ribbon. Oh, thank you, Carla. So let's take a look. Okay, so from here, I would usually start a new layer, and then we can start playing around with other designs. I like the flourishy stuff that we had on the other one, so I'll show how we can play with some flourishes, and I'll pick another color. So here's, within the Bewitched set, there are several detail brushes, and then this is the fun flourish one. So let's just try to do a color test first. So we started with orange, and I'll start kind of playing around with some flourishes. So there's that corner. That works out fairly well. So yeah, we can start picking out areas where we might want to flourish, and these can be as fancy or as simple as you want. So I usually will look for the corners of each of the designs and then start playing with the flourish lines from there. So let's start off maybe from this corner and add one. And the kind of the magic spell look comes from just how much, or the brightness of the line comes from how hard I'm pressing. It could come up like that. Maybe, I don't know, I did that before in the last one, so maybe we'll do a more swooshy one over here. Or you know what, maybe it could even come back this way. I don't know. What do you think? That's kind of the fun part of this app, is you can play around with flourishes endlessly and see what direction that you end up liking them. So I could come back with one like that. Yeah, maybe I'll even, I don't know, something like that. That's new. That's different, right? So yeah, we'll try this flourish line this time. And then maybe I'll add another one over here that curls like that. Oh, thank you, Natalia. Yeah, you can really play around with these lines however you want in this app. That's kind of one of the fun part. And if I want to just keep it to the way the other ones was designed, I'll start with that one first, and then maybe we can start to vary it later if there's time. So the original one just had if my memory serves, had a flourish line that kind of came up like that into that quadrant. Right, and then I think there was one that came off of here kind of tangentially. Like that, maybe. And then there were some lines here. Maybe that one swoops up in a big way. And every once in a while my iPad freezes. It is an older one, but it's okay. Just give it a second to rest. Maybe it just needs to breathe for a second. There we go. And then, you know what? Maybe we'll change this one. Do like a bigger flourish in the corner or something. Or just keep it like a curl like that. Okay. It's starting to come along. What do you guys think? How does the orange and yellow suit you? We're very, very Halloweeny for sure right now. Maybe for now I'll keep it small and then maybe work something else into it later. Okay, so that's kind of a basic start to the tea. Another thing that I've added to these before are a lot of these little, what I call icicles. So let's pick a different brush for those. Maybe I'll go into here. And go with one of these brushes. Do we want to keep with the yellow for the kind of the outlines and other little effects, or do you guys want to see a different color? Let me know what you think. This could become as colorful or as simple as we want. And then I'll show you some other cool fun effects. So for now I'm going to turn my grid off, and that's one of the benefits of keeping the grid on a different layer. And you know what, looking at it, I actually feel like I want to turn and tilt this flourish. So here will be a good example. I forgot to put them on separate layers. I see I see Dana saying, or Diana? Sorry, I'm apologizing. I'm going to be apologizing a lot for pronouncing your name so terribly. But I like the suggestion for more effects. And Natalia saying maybe I can steal an iPad. Tamara, maybe. Please don't go into a store and steal an iPad and tell them that I told you that was the right move. But it would be an interesting conversation, I would imagine, right? Oh, you all crack me up. This is hilarious. So if you could tell, I just drew a free selection around this flourish, and now I could, if I want it more tilted, I could tilt it even more. Just like so. I feel like I like that a little bit better. So this is the fun, or kind of the freedom that working digitally gives you. I see Carla saying purple. Okay, any other color suggestions? All right, I'm not seeing anything yet. Let's see how purple looks. Okay, I don't really have purple in here, so let's make one. Maybe, well, let's see. Since we're warmer, maybe, or who knows, maybe a cooler color would look good. A cooler purple. Okay, well, let's try that and see. Try something up here and see how this goes. I've got my brush selected. The beauty of this is that you can always change the colors later if you want. Okay, I'm on a new layer, so let's just draw. I think that was a little bit too dark. Purples. Okay. It's definitely a brighter purple. Maybe go a little bit more saturated. I'm combining two purples here. So let's add some more detail. The brush is a little big. And we can just start to add some little tiny lines. And details underneath the T here, or next to the T. Can I just say again, the colors that you all pick are just amazing. This is turning out super cool. And again, it's another color combination that I probably would not have tried naturally. So I really do love the color selections that we come up with each week. Or more accurately, that you suggest each week. Draw some snazzy little lines here. I almost feel like these are these would be the colors of some kind of a cool superhero villain or something like that. Maybe because of the purple. The Joker's purple, right? Any other comic fans out there? Man, that really did end up being a cool accent color. I love these ideas that we're coming up with. Thank you, Carla, for the initial purple suggestion. And I'll show you how we can fix this little issue that you're seeing here on the screen as I'm zoomed in. That the purple line is running over the flourish line, which isn't necessarily what I would want to create. So all I need to do to fix that is grab my flourish layers and just, that's going to move everything. That defeats the purpose. Grab the first flourish layers and put them on top. Now that purple line is behind the other ones. Wow, very cool color selections. Now I'm getting all sorts of cool ideas. Okay, we're definitely gonna have some fun with this design now. See Barbara saying, very cool. Yeah, this is turning out awesome. I think I like this better than the blue and orange one. This is turning out really cool. So let's see, maybe, okay, I kind of feel like I'm really excited to add some shading, but the question is, do I jump into doing some shading and highlights? Maybe we'll add some of the icicles just to get that step in here. I'm gonna go on top of here, and I'm gonna turn my grid on. That way I can make sure they're straight. Okay, got darker for some reason there. Let's make the slider. Okay. Looks like they want to be lighter only for some reason. Let's increase the brightness, maybe saturation. Okay, well, the icicles are going to be a little darker for some. It might have. Oh, it's because I'm on the grid layer. See, sometimes you just gotta use your brain, and I was not using my brain there. It's because the opacity was low. Now they're going to be ridiculously bright. All right. So now, see, when you do the right thing, it's amazing how things work out. Or when you use the program correctly, is probably how I should word that. So let's add some of these cool. Now let's make this one really long. So I can make this one long. Kind of like the little effects that I added to the drawing from last week, just by hand. This time with Procreate. Okay, maybe another one there. Little friend icicle next to him. Okay, that one got away. There we go. And I definitely know that I want one here near the tip. Make this one kind of long. There we go. What can a great sentiment, Carla. Happy mistakes are beautiful art. Yeah, you never know. Sometimes you never know what you're going to create if you just go with it. I think it's always really easy to be hard on yourself when you're working on something. But you never know what kind of cool thing may come out of an accident. Or just a new experiment. Maybe one right here too. Not a long one. Give him a little friend there. go. Okay, can you all see the design kind of starting to take shape? So excited to add some other cool stuff to this. Let's draw this one. Maybe it just ends right there. And I'm gonna switch the color up a little bit. I feel like changing it a teeny bit. Maybe give it a little bit of interesting variation. So what do you think? If you've tried Procreate, have you tried any of these kind of flourished capital designs? Does anyone here remember my old Instagram account that was that disappeared last year on me, unfortunately? If so, you saw a bunch of these last year, especially second half of the year. And I'd love to hear if you gave them a try. Okay, so I'll just tend to add these all over the place, wherever I feel like they might add some character to the design. But that orange suggestion, that absolutely brilliant. Make short one, maybe a longer one there. So yeah, this is kind of like drawing the outlines on the other on the handmade art, where I tend to just have fun getting lost in making these little details and just taking my time making them, seeing what I like and what fits where, and just sometimes varying the pressure, make so that the lines look a little bit more like they were done by hand, give some more weight than others less. Maybe this one extends all the way down here. So Procreate and these digital tools, they really can be kind of just another extension of your creativity. And I know sometimes people feel like, oh, it's not as valid if you're doing artwork digitally, but I really do believe it's just a matter of expressing yourself in using whichever tools you enjoy. Okay, so there's a really cool design. Now I'm kind of interested to add some more elements. So I'm gonna take these icicles and maybe make them a little bit transparent, just so that they're not as emphasized. And then maybe get all these cool ideas when we're working on these projects together. And the time always flies. I just checked the time and it's already 8:40. Carla's asking, can you animate it? You actually can animate with Procreate. I've not done much of it. I animated one thing in Procreate and it wasn't a real animation. It was more just me kind of drawing something in a lettering design that I made, the Baby Yoda one, just to show where I hit some lettering. But you can animate using Procreate. In that case, it might be better to have a newer device, just because you would need more layers. But it does do animation. It's a pretty amazing application. And the fact that it's $10, it's a $10 app, which to me is still pretty crazy. So now I'm gonna use my layering to add hopefully a glowing effect. That may be too bright. I'm gonna just use a different, I think this glow brush is just the default brush that comes with Procreate. And it's a really cool one for adding some like little bits of illumination sometimes behind your designs. And you all see that if I zoom in, how it looks like it's a little bit illuminated on the edges. I see Leanne saying thanks so much, Tamara. Have to go for now. See you next week. Thank you, Leanne, for being here. I really appreciate you being here with us this week. And I hope you have a fantastic evening. And Stacy asking, so happy you're doing a Procreate live stream. I need to try some Blackletter on my iPad. Yeah, I would definitely give it a shot. You can do all sorts of fun stuff. I've created so many different designs and ideas just playing around with the iPad. Pretty fun what you can create. Okay, I'm honestly not liking that glowy stuff as much, so I'm gonna move on to doing some shading because I know we may start to run out of time here. So I'm gonna start adding some of the elements that I was super excited to add before. So let's go back to the brush pack, and in the brush packs that I created, well, you know what? Let's just go with the default one for now. Let's do just the soft spray paint. There we go. And I'm going to pick. Let's pick a brighter version of this purple, and I'm gonna treat it like maybe the purple is adding some highlight to the layer underneath. So in order to do that, I'm gonna use a handy trick. So I'm going to group these guys. And we'll duplicate that guy. This is a trick a trick that I use just to be able to have a flattened version of my art while preserving the original layers just in case I want to go back and use those. So now I've got a flattened version, and I can create a layer on top of that I can start to do some fun shading techniques with. Okay, so we're gonna go up here, turn that into a clipping mask, and I realize I'm going super fast here. Like my mask there was hidden. Okay, that's kind of what I was looking for. So let's go a low opacity on this. Make it a little bit bigger. And then I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a purple color. See at the bottom there. You can kind of see it kind of looks like the purple from the little accent and icicles, as I call them, is lighting up that side of the letter. Just kind of gives it more of a 3D look, or sells that it's a piece of the art's kind of interacting with each other. So just a little bit of purple shading there. And if I wanted to make like it's illuminated, I can just now pick an even brighter color. And maybe just barely touch those edges, just to give it a little bit of light. All right, and then I'm gonna do the yellow. I'll do another clipping mask, and then I'm gonna add yellow to the other side, and this is what gets really fun too. Goodness, every time we start these, I feel like we've got so much time, and then the time just flies by. Let's see how everyone is doing in the chat. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Natalia, for letting everyone know to remember to hit the like button. Thank you all so much for liking the video. And I see Patrice saying there was a presentation at the Summer Creative Retreat on animation. It looked very involved, lots of steps. Yeah, the animation, I will not mislead you into thinking that it's just super easy and that Procreate animates everything by itself. It is definitely not that sort of it's not that sort of a tool. You still do have to do quite a bit of work and kind of know what you have to know what you're doing. So it's not, I'm trying to think of the best wording here. It's not like it's super easy where it doesn't take any work, but it is possible and you can do it. So if you like animating, I definitely would give it a try. Like, you never know. You might end up creating something that's just like insanely cool that you're super proud of. I'm willing to bet all of you would. Just seeing your awesome color selections, I'm willing to bet you'd all come up with something amazing. Oh, and welcome Tina. Hello. I see Tina saying hi everyone. Hi Tamara, just joining. Looks like I missed the process, but I look forward to watching this. I don't have an iPad, but I'm longing for this medium. No mess and quick correct. Yes, that is all very true, but I promise you, just encourage you work with the tools that you have and have fun with them, and we'll definitely, I will for sure keep my fingers crossed. I mean, I would love to at some point be able to do like iPad giveaways and all of that stuff. It'd be just amazing. So maybe you all can help me get in good with Apple or something like that. Because I would love to be able to give away some iPads or something like that so you could all try. And as I mentioned earlier, I'll just emphasize again that you don't have to have a new one. If you can see on my screen, this is not the newest iPad ever. It's actually, I think, from 2017. I actually, maybe a funny story as I'm working here, I did recently buy one of the newer models of iPad, and I thought I ended up getting one of the, it was one of the new M1, for anybody that's familiar with the processors, one of the M1 iPads, and it was really decked out and stuff. And then as I was using it, I was realizing that it honestly did not, for what I used this tool for, it didn't perform so much better that it was worth the extremely high cost that came with it. Maybe if you used your iPad for photo editing and other stuff, which I just use my computer for any stuff like that, then maybe it would be more worthwhile, or did video editing on an iPad. But I honestly just found it to be overkill, so I returned it, and I'm still using this one. I may sit tight until a subsequent year. But yeah, can everybody see what I was just doing? I was just adding a little bit of shading, and if you can see, the cool thing with the iPad is that I can show you the before and after very easily. Let me get rid of the grids. So here is how our cool design looks, just without any other, without any of the grid or anything like that, but just to show you the before and after with the shading. So that here, let me zoom in so it's a little bit bigger. Scooch it over to the right. So that's before, and then this is after with just the lights and stuff like that. Oh, we've got, so Tina's here. This is awesome, and Larry's joining us too. Hi, Larry. Great to see you too. Awesome. So many awesome Calligraphy friends today. So let's see what let me show you another cool thing that we can do here. I'm gonna add, I like to call it kind of the magic dust or magic spell effect. And in these sets I also added, let me go back to just the Bewitched set. So I added all of these kind of grungy brushes for adding, like you can add all sorts of interesting ink sprays and stuff in it, very randomized. So you can create some interesting effects just by like wide splashes with a large brush. But these little brushes can actually really be handy too for adding what looks like kind of a, as I was saying before, a magic dust or magic spell effect to edges, as my iPad rebels against me. So if I come in here and ideally on a new layer with the pencil selected, oh, the brush is still enormous. That's why it wasn't working. So I can shrink the brush down, and if you can see, it's probably super hard to see on the stream, but can you see in there? You can add these little sprays of really small ink spatters that give it that look of like, hey, maybe this is an actual magic spell on the page. Maybe I got too carried away with it there, but just add elements, and you can even like vary the size a little bit, give some spots maybe a little bit bigger and some a little bit smaller, just to give it a little bit variation. Right, and then I can do, as soon as my iPad decides to cooperate with me. So even if you got one of the cheaper new iPads, it would still be a little bit newer than this one. But like I was saying, you can actually go in and even add some of these cool dust effects. You see what that's doing? Just, it's very subtle, but I do think it adds a little something to the design when you add these little dust streaks. I'll try to zoom in a lot so you can kind of see. Awesome seeing Stacy saying love the magic. This is fantastic news. And there's so much, man. We could spend weeks doing just Procreate live streams. How are we doing on time? So, yeah, let me know. Let me know if you would like to see more. You want to see some more circle stuff? If you'd like to see some more Procreate stuff. I would really love to hear what you're interested in and what you like seeing. So maybe in the brightest spots, that's where I'll add some of that kind of magic dust over here too. And I don't necessarily have to draw the whole thing in a straight line. I can, like I was saying earlier, vary the width and or vary the size of the brush and just push in different spots just to give it a varied look. Like it's not necessarily everywhere. Maybe a little bit up here too. Just like that, a little bit there. What do you think? This is coming along fun. All right, Tina saying, see, that's why I don't have tech. It rebels every time and causes so much frustration, but watching others use it always looks so fun. Well, if watching me use it and seeing that it's rebelling against me gives you any consolation, then hey, maybe you can give it a try too. You could be in the club with me. the rebelling technology club. We could start a whole new group. So I feel like I want a little pointy bit to that corner. So I'm gonna fill it in with maybe some kind of a rough. Maybe they'll try this smoky brush. Oh, it ideally would work well to pick a similar color. Oh, it's on a clipping mask. Okay, so I'm gonna do that on top of it. And you know, if I was just really taking my time with this, I would probably spend more time trying to feather that in very, very convincingly. But just to give you an idea that you can maybe even modify some spots, even with the brushes, just to give it a slightly unique look. So see, I just gave it a little point there. Sorry if I'm moving around so fast. But I really wanted to get through as much of this as I could, and I still feel like I want to add some lighting to these little icicle things. So let's see. I'm gonna do the same thing I did before. We'll group these two. Sorry, and we'll duplicate, and then I'm gonna merge these by pinching them. Okay, now they're showing again. So I'm gonna do another clipping mask, and let's grab some color again. So I'm gonna go with this and go bright, and maybe even warm it up a little. Let's see how that looks. And then come in maybe even whiter. And then let's just see. Oh, got my Fumos brush. Does anybody, just out of curiosity, does anybody recognize the words Fumos and Periculum? I'll give you a second to think. There we go. I like that. That's brightening it up a bit. Just because the brush is huge. Huge, enormous. As always, inventing new words. Okay, ooh, I got an idea of something else we can add. So I would probably, I'm gonna run out of time, but just if I was working on finishing this design up myself, I would probably come in and add like some shading effects. You know, maybe if you want to see more Procreate, let me know, and maybe we can go over some of these other effects that you can add too. But all I'm doing right now is just trying to add a little bit of like color, or not really color, but luminosity, not luminance, to some of these effects, just to maybe give them a little bit more of a 3D look. And here I'll show you something really cool if you wanna play around with these. Is it under vintage? So in these default, the airbrush inking, luminance, the word that I was just using. Okay, I'm checking the. Hey, good. Stacy totally got it. Harry Potter. That is 100% right. A fellow Harry Potter fan as well. So if you check out, I just grabbed this flare brush from in here, and what I'm gonna do, like, let's look for a bright spot. Maybe this. I mean, maybe I want to pretend like this purple spot is bright. I can just do. Oh, it's on a clipping mask. I can just do a quick tap. Did you see that? Boom. And I've got a bright spot there, and I can make that bigger or smaller. You see that? I just did it with my hand, and I could even make it a little bit less opaque. Maybe fade like it's got a little bright diamond. Like maybe we'll add one here. Oh, we're not. Like that, maybe fade it a little bit more. And I honestly feel that one's a little bit too big, but for now we'll just leave it. And then the other cool thing that you can do, like maybe I'll go maybe up here. I could do, because this one's on a curve, like if I added one there, let's make it smaller. Maybe not that small. I could add one there, and then I could even change the size, rotate the canvas, and add another one, ideally right on top of it, and then it'll almost look like a star. So that got too big. There we go. That's not too bad. I know there's so much more that we could do and add and play with here. But what do you all think? As we're coming close to the last couple of minutes, what do you think? How did you like playing around with Procreate? I'm gonna leave this over here for a second so that you can see. Maybe zoom in-ish a little. Like there's more flourishes we could have added and changed things. Let's see. Tina's saying, thank you, Tamara, you make it look so easy, but the amount of knowledge you have with all the controls lends to the perception that it's simple to use, yet I remind myself there's a major learning curve. You're definitely right. There is a learning curve associated with Procreate. So I don't want anybody to get the impression that like, oh, you started up and you'll immediately know everything intuitively. But I promise you you can totally do this. And for anyone that needs a hand, I did put a video up on the YouTube channel. So there is an intro to Procreate video on the YouTube channel. It's completely free. And I walk you through all the basic functionality and how to use it, what layers are, how to pick colors, move things around. So definitely feel free to check that out, because I know I believe in you, Tina. I know you can do this. So, and if you ever have questions, feel free to give me a holler, because I'm always happy to help. And if we want to do Procreate again, feel free to throw some questions in the chat, and I'll be happy to also help share some knowledge. So let's see, Carla saying I loved it, and Dania saying, and I will borrow it. Awesome. Are you gonna? Is this? I'm gonna switch back to the overhead view. So, and can I say again, incredibly cool, incredibly cool. Switch to me again. So incredibly cool design. As I unplug my iPad, here it is next to me. This is what we all made today, even though it looks reversed to me. I don't know. I think it may look okay to you, but yeah, you can have a lot of fun. And again, there is a free YouTube video on my channel about how to use Procreate if you're just getting started and want to try. But do let me know. I would love to hear. I think everybody was saying that it was fun seeing something new. So if you want, next week we can do Procreate again, or we can go back to doing some more circle experiments or some other kind of lettering. Who knows? I mean, maybe we pulled off not writing black letter in a circle today, but I'm still not 100% convinced. So let me know. Let me know what you all think and would like to do next time. And in the meantime, again, if you wouldn't mind, if it means the world if you like the video and subscribe to the channel. And again, if you found anything useful here today and would like to leave a tip, there's a link to that in the description as well. And mostly, I would love to say thank you to all of you for joining me again tonight. It's always been so much fun, and I seriously, every time I ask for color selections, you come up with gold. This is incredible. So thank you again for all of the sharing all of our creative juices today and having so much fun. And Patrice saying such a fun learning curve. It really is a fun learning curve. Thank you, Stacy. I really appreciate it. And congrats, Carla. I'd be really curious to hear next week what you think of this Krita app. So, and see if it's actually useful and helpful. And thank you, Patrice, for all of the kind words. And Tina, thank you so much. You're with Natalia. We've got a full tutorial. Right on. And again, just holler if you need any help with anything. Oh, thank you all so much. Thank you all so much. So for now, I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you again for stopping by. I'm excited to see you next time. And in the meantime, have a safe and fantastic week. All right. Take care, everyone. I'll see you all next time. Have a wonderful evening.